Ooh, that looks like a nice colour of whiskey. You can't see it. It's in a box. Hello and welcome to the Whisky Trials. Right, we have a very interesting whisky trials for you. So you might remember in episode 5, I think it was, I reviewed the new Old Pulteney. And I felt that it had changed not only the branding, but the flavour, taste, nose, everything. Now, if you go and have a look at episode 5, you'll see that Old Pulteney themselves have actually commented on my video. And they have assured me, and everybody else, that it is exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is the branding. So, what I thought I would do is start this trials off with a completely blind tasting. So I have the new Old Pulteney and the old Pulteney, and we're just going to give them a bash and see if I can tell the difference. See if Old Pulteney are telling porcupines. Obviously there's going to be variations with whiskies. They can't keep it exactly the same all the time because there's so many variables involved. But we'll see if there's a massive, distinct difference. So, I have got my butler, Jeeves, to pour a couple behind my back. I couldn't see anything. So, Jeeves, if you would. Here it comes. Thank you, Jeeves. Ah, Jeeves. Thank you. Right. Okay, so let's have a look at the colour first of all. So we've got, they look pretty similar. Yeah. What do you guys think? You see that? One of the glasses is kind of cloudy, but it looks pretty similar to me. Okay, let's nose this one. Okay. I think I know the difference already. I might be getting ahead of myself. There's definitely a difference in the smell. That one is. Now the difficulty here is that I've tried the new Old Pulteney fairly recently, and the old Pulteney I haven't tried for over 2 years, or a year and a half at least. So, you know, I kind of hark back to the flavours of this and how I imagined it kind of tasted, you know. So I've got this, not necessarily a misconception, but I have a flavour in my head of what this used to taste like, and whether that's kind of romanticised with time and I've got rose-tinted goggles or whatever, I don't know. But with the new Old Pulteney, I was picking up more definite flavours of things that, you know, I felt definitely weren't in the old one. So, let's give this one a taste. There's something about this one. I think this might be the new one. And these are fresh pours as well, so the bottles were only just opened. So these are like the first nips. Or is that the new one? Let me taste it. Definitely a difference on the nose. Go back to this one. This one smells to me like it's got slightly more kind of a cream soda kind of smell. Now I'm trying to remember what the new Old Pulteney tasted like, because I'm not getting the strong flavour that I did before. But the strange thing was that when I had the new version of this Old Pulteney, I didn't get that flavour. I don't think I got that flavour on the first nip. I got it further down the bottle. No, there's a definite difference there. It's quite subtle, actually, more subtle than I thought it was going to be. It's quite different on the nose, though. So far, I'm kind of thinking that there isn't too much of a difference, and that Old Pulteney may well be right in saying that it's not changed. I mean, there is a difference in taste and there is a difference in smell, but it's quite subtle, and you'd expect these slight kind of fluctuations with all the variables that go into making whiskey, right? So it's never going to be exactly the same as the one I had 5 years ago. That one. And I suppose what I'm going to have to do is like pick the one I like best as well. So not only say, if this glass goes with this one and this glass goes with this one, but I'm also going to have to say which glass I like the best. God, kind of wishing I hadn't started this now. Showing up my whiskey tasting inexperience. I'd like to see some of the top guys do this. This one, I think this one's like Melwar. I'm definitely getting more of a cream soda vibe, and I'm getting the saltiness on this one. Because I think that's one of the things that I lack, or if you watch episode 5, that's what I was saying about this newer version, I'm calling it. Probably not a newer version, really, but this newer one lacked the saltiness for me. It didn't kind of remind me of the sea. And I got a real orangey, bitter orange kind of aftertaste with the new one. But I'm not getting that just now, but I don't think I got it on the first nip anyway. Pretty tough, gotta say, pretty tough. I suppose it's tough as well because I've forgotten my water, so I'm not rinsing my palate out. I'm just going flicking from one to the other. I know, I'm taking my time, guys, but this is important stuff. I don't know why I'm leaning towards this one being the new one, but then I keep doubting myself. I think it's because I'm getting a slight oranginess on the nose with this one. Ah, here's Jeeves with some water. Well done, Jeeves. Thank you. Right. Okay. Decision time. Decision time. I'm getting to the end of these nips. So, what have we got? This one, to me, I'm not getting the kind of oranginess. It's much more kind of cream soda. Yeah, I'm not getting any kind of hint of the oranginess with this one at all. I'm just going to rinse my mouth again. Right, so this is the one that I've been thinking is potentially the new one throughout the taste test, but I kept doubting myself. And if I'm honest, it kind of smells a little bit more complex on the nose. This one seems like a simpler kind of nip, and this one feels a bit more complex. But again, I'm not getting the oranginess that I was getting on the new one, which was such a distinct flavour that I thought I could pick it out. God damn it. Jeeves is behind the camera and not making eye contact so to not give the game away. Oh, I got it. There we go. I got the orange. I've got the orange. Yep, just hit the top of my palate. Right, okay. Just got to finish this little bit just to make sure. And we shall see if I'm right in about 2 seconds. Yeah, this smells like the saltier one, I think. This is like the old one that I remember. One of the whiskies actually that really got me into whiskey this, so you know, no matter what, it's a great dram, it's a great whiskey. But they are already in position. I think that was the newer one and that was the older one. Jeeves, can you confirm or deny? Oh, yes! I told you, old Pulteney, I knew you changed it. I knew it. I knew it, and that was the one that that I said from the very start that I thought it was. Cool, excellent. My taste buds aren't that bad. I'm so pleased about that actually, because to be fair on Old Pulteney, it was actually pretty tough, but I picked them out, and there you go. And the thing is, like I said, I've not had that for like a year and a half, and this one was over Christmas time or something. I think I had it. So, or just after Christmas, it was like New Year kind of time, so it was, so a good few weeks ago anyway. Awesome. I am so pleased about that I managed to pick them out. Alright, cool. Well, thank you very much, Jeeves. I'm going to pour myself another one. Just to get back into the, and really review the ones, because what I haven't said is which one is my favourite. And that's the next step, right? Which one is my favourite? Whew, God, that was that was pretty stressful in a way, because I really didn't want to get that wrong. Because I've been saying to Old Pulteney that it's different, and watch episode 5. I'm quite bolshy about it. I'm kind of harsh. I'm a little bit mean to Old Pulteney. Sorry, Old Pulteney. You guys are doing great stuff. Actually, I'll leave that out the bottle. And I also wanted to talk about the branding. So let's just try and not pour myself too much. I already had to. Right, put that there. I wonder if the corks smell different. Right, new old Pulteney, old Pulteney. You know what? The weird thing that I've been finding at the moment with whiskies is, ooh, I like the smell of that one better. The corks themselves, they really kind of take in the raisiny kind of smell. Very similar. I mean, the old one's a bit lighter. But yeah, both kind of raisiny, both got a nice smell. But what I've been finding with some whiskies that I've been trying at the moment is I smell the cork, that's always the first thing I do. And then I get this horrible vinegary wine smell of them. And I'm like, ugh, it's not good. Right. Okay, so branding. Favourite. Okay, so let's talk about the branding first, and then I'll get to the favourite at the very end. So, old Pulteney. It's got the traditional kind of metal top and bottom thing going on. It's got this lovely etched golden ship. It's got kind of shiny old Pulteney writing. I like this because it's very simple to me. I'm not sure about the shiny old Pulteney. I guess it does kind of catch your eye. So if you're into that kind of thing, then fine. The one thing that I'm always kind of concerned about is the effect, the ecologic effect. So, do these get recycled well? What's the kind of carbon footprint in making something like this? I actually noticed this was next to a Jura, and the Jura shape is just almost exactly the same. But so to create this, don't know what that is. Whatever that tin is that bad for the environment? It probably is. Anything that's got to be dug out of the ground and then heated up and then melted and printed and manipulated, that's got to be bad for the environment, right? Excuse me. So, oh my god, I never noticed the inside of a goddamn old Pulteney, the old Pulteney. It's got shit in it. It's got the Murray Firth. Oh yeah, so it shows you where the old Pulteney distillery is, which is in Wick. So it's a East Highland malt. But that's cool. I didn't realise they did printing on the inside. Oh my god, old Pulteney, that's like, that's like just attention to detail right there. I don't think you guys will be able to see that if I put it right up to the camera. Maybe. No, not happening. Stupid Ye 4K Plus. Need Sony A7 III. But yeah, it's nice. I love that little bit on the inside. God damn, why have I never noticed that before? Probably because I just wasn't paying attention, old Pulteney. I apologise that I've only just noticed that. But yeah, maybe they've moved away. Maybe this is more ecologically sound. It's not going to harm the environment so much. I don't know. Let's take a look at it. What have I got? Wow, cardboard. Yeah, folded nice kind of ways. Thought that was a bit of plastic at the bottom there, but I think it's just the inside. Yeah, so it's just all cardboard, right? So that's just paper. Oh no, wait. Oh no, plastic. Right. Well, we all know plastic's really bad, right? It's easier to recycle metal than plastic. Totally. Let's just see if I can rip this out. Give you a look at it. I'm just wrecking it. I'm wrecking it, but I think I've got another one somewhere. Oh man, that is a massive chunk of plastic right there. Yeah, check that out. That is a big old chunk of plastic, which just cut my knuckle. Sharp too. Yeah, that's not good. I don't like that. So that's a minus point for that branding. I'm sorry to say. Lid's screwed now. But let's talk about the thing. Let's just put them together for a minute. What stands out? I mean, I can see what they've kind of done. This cardboard box, the way that it's set up, and the kind of darker blues without this shininess, adds an older, more vintage appeal. Yeah, so, you know, especially if you're doing an age statement, I guess that's kind of what you're going for. But they could have just not made it so shiny. But yeah, I'd be interested if anybody's like in the recycling business or whatever. What is worse? Is metal or plastic worse? I always thought metal would be easier to recycle than plastics. And well, how many people are going to rip that out and put it in their plastic recycling? I don't know. The other thing that I like about the old old Pulteney, is this big boat. It's got the seagull flying. You know, it kind of told me the story. As soon as I kind of bought it, I was like, oh, maritime malt. You know, I'm thinking pirates, I'm thinking smugglers, I'm thinking all sorts of stuff. And it immediately kind of told me a story. It got my imagination going. And then it's got the maritime malt in big writing underneath with a interesting, the R is piratey-ized. You know, it's got the flick. Whereas this one, it's much more about the distillery manager, apparently. Malcolm something. I can't even read his name. Malcolm, you've got a hen scratch, mate. It's a bit of a hen scratch. Malcolm Waring? Something like that. So it's got some more information here. You know, we know where it's born. It says the Port of Wick, founded by James Henderson. You know, so it's got some history there, and it's got some text on the front saying that it's matured in fine oak. It's hand-selected ex-bourbon casks, gently absorbing the distinct sea air, lively with a delicate mineral-salted spiciness. Old Pulteney, 12 years old, is a singular and evocative spirit. Truly, the maritime malt. Right. Yeah. It's kind of tiny writing. I don't think anybody's going to actually read that on the front when they look at something. For me, branding is about telling a story, and they're actually trying to tell the story with words, but nobody reads anymore anyway. So it's like, pictures tell 1,000 words, and that tells me 1,000 words. Actually, I probably would have picked up a better ship, but that got my imagination going much more than this. So I'm going to say, I mean, they've still got the ship in this little badge, so they've taken away the age 12 and they've like made that with the little ship, but it's tiny. Yeah, there's a tiny little seagull there. Nobody sees that. It just looks like a stamp of approval kind of thing. Compare the stories on the back, see what's changed. So this one starts with the distillery, and this one starts with the man behind the distillery. What is more interesting to people? Is it the people behind stuff, or is it the stuff? I don't know. But at least they've got a good bit of text on both bottles. I'm going to say though that this one's got tasting notes. It's got the little map that tells you where they are. So it's got the appearance, aroma, tasting notes. It's got a quote from good old Jim Murray, Mr. Whisky himself, the Whisky Don. Yeah, I'm totally leaning towards the old branding. Sorry, old Pulteney. Old Pulteney, old branding. That's what I'm saying. And this one says, 40% alc, 40% volume. This one's just 40% volume. Oldpulteney.com, just in case you want to check the website out. Yeah, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments, which one do you like better? What piques your imagination? What's like, ooh, what's telling you the story? And that's the back. I mean, I'm shooting this fairly well. I might just hopefully try and zoom into these so you can almost read them. Try and keep my hand steady. But yeah, I suppose I've got to pick a favourite now. And it's interesting doing that blind taste test. So the way I want to do it. By the way, Jeeves was actually Sarah. The way I wanted to do it, and I was talking to Sarah about it, was like I wanted to taste them first, and then I wanted to do the blind taste test, because obviously that would have given me an unfair advantage, I think, a little bit. But it was also because I hadn't tasted them for a while, especially the old one, and I was like, well, I just don't know if I just wanted to reacquaint my taste buds with them, and then I would have a better chance of picking them out. And then I had a conversation with Sarah, and Sarah was like, nah, that's kind of like cheating a little bit, because you're kind of getting used to the flavours. And I was like, yeah, but if Old Pulteney say they're the same, then it doesn't really matter, does it? Because I shouldn't be able to pick them out, because Old Pulteney say they're the same. So I eventually went with what Sarah suggested, because I did actually feel that was fair, because I was like, do you know what? I feel like the Old Pulteney has changed so much, and it's got that very strong orangey kind of flavour that comes at some point. Like I said, it doesn't come very easily with the first nip, but it did come. It did come eventually, and I picked it out. But yeah, so I went with Sarah's idea. I thought that was a fair idea, just to do a blind taste test first, and thankfully, I still managed to pick it out. But do you know what? I said some good things about this, didn't I? When I was smelling them and tasting them, I said this has got a more complex nose. But is it a better nose? And the nose is only half the battle. In fact, it's probably about 40%, because, taste is the main battle, but the two senses are linked. Yeah, it's a weird one. When I first smelt the old one, I felt like it had a bit more vapour in it, and it was a bit harsher on the nose. I still get that a wee bit, but now that I've got this second nip and it's been sitting there for a while, it's definitely mellowed. I can't do the shaky thing with my left hand. I can tell I'm right-handed. This is softer on the nose. This not necessarily has the unfinished kind of quality of harsher whiskies, but it's got that. It's still got that really nice sweet cream soda start, and then it mellows into the kind of slightly seasidey, saltiness. whereas I don't think this one quite gets there. Yeah, it's not quite got that. Yeah, it's not quite got that bite that this one has, which perhaps brings out the saltiness, or it brings out something that I'm associating with seaside, beaches, seaweed, whatever. Whereas this one, bit similar though. You know, they're not too far off. I'm still so glad I managed to pick them out. Damn. Pat on the back for me. I think it's a well-deserved pat on the back. And, you know, drinking an old Pulteney 12, drinking what would seem to be some kind of quadruple old Pulteney 12, is probably reward enough. I want to see other people do this. You've got the top dogs like Aquavite. If you could pick them out, that'd be great. That'd be cool. The Whisky Vault, they're like obviously the top channel. You got Ralphie. I don't know if Ralphie's ever done this. I challenge you guys. Come on, every channel that I've got listed on mine. You've got Gary's Whisky Reviews. You've got the Whisky Family, the Whisky Reaver. Come on, guys, try and find an old Pulteney and a new old Pulteney, and see if you guys can pick it out. And you know, don't cheat. Get somebody to do the pouring that you don't see. Taste them, then make your decision, and then do what I've done and go into the tasting and pick your favourite. I will admit, as you already know from episode 5, that I have a bias to this one. But I've never had them together. So now I'm getting that zesty orange from that one, which doesn't strike me as maritime malt. I mean, oranges like make me think about warm climates, Spain, you know, that kind of thing. It was like, you know, it wasn't that long ago that you got an orange in your stocking because, like, oh my god, not seen an orange for a while. My mum is the generation pretty much after the war. So that's, I think, when my mum was born, rationing might have just stopped or something like that. So, you know, getting an orange was like a big deal. But it's not seaside. It doesn't make you think of the seaside, old Pulteney. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It's not the maritime malt anymore. It is the... What is it? It's the Spanish... It's the Mediterranean, it's the citrus malt, it's the equatorial malt. I don't know what it is, but I don't know, I think you're pushing the boundaries of maritime. You know, unless like a smuggler ship is bringing in oranges when you first started. When did you first start? It says, I'll check the new branding because I'm pretty sure it starts there. Founded by James Henderson in 1826. Yeah? Loads of oranges going about Britain. 1826. North of Scotland. Plenty of oranges in 1826. I doubt it, mate. I doubt it. You'd probably be lucky to find them in London. Yeah, it's there for me. I've made my decision already. It is this. I mean, this is why I've actually been quite passionate about this subject, and why I was a little bit harsh with old Pulteney, and I'm so glad that they got in touch and actually watched the video and commented on it. It's great that these big companies would even take notice of little old me. But I have been a loyal customer of theirs for a while, so why shouldn't they answer my questions and concerns and all the rest of it? Yeah, the old one for me has. I mean, this is one of the whiskies that really got me into whiskey, and that's why I've been so passionate about it. Because it wasn't my first. I don't even know if it was second, third, fourth, fifth, but it was one of the ones that I truly enjoyed. And this is the thing that I'll say to any newcomer whiskey drinkers out there. The thing that you have to do is that you kind of have to get used to whiskey a little bit. I've had conversations where I've likened it to coffee. So you drink a coffee and you go for the first time, and then you're like, and you take another drink, and then you kind of enjoy the feeling that it gives you. Maybe it gives you that little buzz or whatever. It makes you work a little bit harder, or gives you some focus, or whatever. But with the Old Pulteney, I think this was truly the first one where I was like, wow, now I'm actually getting it. You know, it was the one that I completely that basically took me on the journey. I always talk about this journey, and I think Old Pulteney was the very first malt that actually managed to do that for me. I've had a few, I think up till that time. I think I had the Ben Romack was like my first one, but I'm not saying that Ben Romack didn't do a good job. What I'm saying is, when you start out on whiskey, you need to persevere a little bit. Like the first bottle that you buy of whiskey, it might even be an Old Pulteney, you might not quite connect with it. Your taste buds have to kind of adjust. You need to get used to the strength, the smells, and everything before you can really start appreciating it. I don't think anybody just picks up a whiskey and goes, whiskey, that's my kind of drink. And maybe there's a few, I don't know, but maybe they don't have the kind of taste buds that I've got. I don't know. All I'm saying is that Old Pulteney was one of the ones that got me into whiskey. It took me on that journey. It connected with me on a spiritual level, I guess. Not being a particularly spiritual person. So yeah, it definitely connected with me, and I think I still have that connection with it. And because it was one of these ones that I had a deep connection with, I think that's why I've been able to pick it out. I mean, if guys like Aquavitae and the big boys, Ralphie and all the rest of it, didn't have that kind of start with it, or didn't, this wasn't like an introduction to them, or they didn't have the connection that I had with it, maybe they'll struggle to taste the difference. But for me, that now that I'm on my second Ep, yeah, more and more, I'm growing in confidence that this is the one for me. So I'm sorry, Old Pulteney, but you have changed. I've proved that you've changed. I have blind tasted your new Old Pulteney and your old Pulteney, and I am somewhat victorious, I think. People may comment, you might have known what was in the other two. I didn't. Sarah poured them. I've been talking about this for ages. As soon as you guys commented on episode 5, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. If you watch my other reviews, all the rest of it, completely honest guy. I am not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. This is not something that I wanted to do. Of course, I wanted to be right. I felt I was right. But it's only because I had such a deep connection with your 12-year-old from the past. And goddamn, how many bottles have I bought of this? Quite a lot, Old Pulteney. Quite a lot. In fact, 2 years ago, Christmas time, this was on special in my local co-op. I must have bought about 5 bottles of it. So I am well acquainted with this. Which is why I was so, not angry, but a little bit harsh with you guys about the new one. Oh, I just realised. Yep. I just realised that I didn't do the branding of the bottles. Okay. Immediately, I kind of like the new bottle, I think. I know what they were probably doing with this one. It's like, people want to see the whiskey. Let's not stick a big old label over the whiskey. People want to see that golden colour. But let's face it, when people buy the whiskey, it's in that. You don't see the whiskey anyway, right? So, and this is a conversation I had recently. Why did people colour it? Why do you colour it? Do Old Pulteney use that E150 colouring? I don't know, that looks like a fairly standard colour to me. They might use it. Oh no, wait. Ooh. I think this one's a little bit more amber. This one is a little bit more golden. This one's a little bit more yellow. From my eyesight, I'll just cross it over. Yeah, definitely. So this feels like it's a little bit more orangey, and this feels like it's a little bit more yellow. By the way, so I was having this conversation. Why do people, or do distillers, put the E150 caramel in? I've been kind of getting more and more angry about it. And I can understand it from the point of view of like, oh, but people want to like look at a drink and see that it's exactly the same. Well, okay, idiot people that I don't want to have anything to do with. But when people buy the whiskey, they don't see the whiskey bottles. They see that. So what's the colouring doing to people that buy it? They don't buy it because of the colouring. Ooh, that looks like a nice colour of whiskey. You can't see it. It's in a box. But yeah, I'm kind of drawn to that. That's a nice little label and stuff going on. It's a kind of clearer thing for me. It's got a little bit more information on it, and yeah. So the winners of the brand, I think, probably the old box and the new bottle. The shape's the same. The shape looks exactly the same. It's the same height. Ooh, old bottle's slightly higher. But yeah, pretty much the same. So yeah, I think I'm done. I think I've talked about pretty much all I can talk about. I'm trying to keep these videos shorter. I'm sorry guys, like the last one was like 40 minutes long. But yeah, I think I'm done. And I think the old Pulteney is the winner for me. There is a definite difference. Oh, actually I'm not finished. Sorry, scratch that, because I checked out Amazon just as a little thing, because obviously I wanted to do this taste test, and like Old Pulteney, you guys didn't supply me with this. I bought these bottles, my own expense. It's getting quite expensive, this Whiskey Trials thing. I got this from a local co-op. It was £32.50, and I got this from Tesco's, and it was about the same. So no difference there. But on Amazon, which comes direct from you guys, Old Pulteney, I believe it says from Old Pulteney on the thing. The new one was like 32 quid, and then this old one was like 38 quid. What's that about? If there's no difference, don't try and capitalise on like the old branding, or like, hey, the old one's finishing. Don't do that, guys. Oh man, that's just like, hey, this one's, this box isn't going to be available anymore. If you want it, you gotta pay more. I don't like that. It's clever. Whoever's running the Amazon kind of thing, it's kind of clever, but to anybody that actually thinks about this kind of stuff, like me, it kind of just feels like you're capitalising. You're preying on people like me who actually prefer this one to that one a little bit, and yeah. I don't think it's fair. If you guys say it's the same malt, why is it a different price on Amazon? Make it the same price. Don't capitalise on the fact that the branding's different and it's, you've only got X amount of bottles of it left. Don't do that. In fact, make it cheaper. Have faith in your new taste and your new brand. Make this one cheaper, get rid of it, move on. it's a new era in Old Pulteney, isn't it? So get rid. But yeah, so there's a difference in branding. Obviously, there's a difference in colour. I think when I put it up to my studio later, and I've picked out the difference in taste. So I don't know, Old Pulteney. I don't know what you want to do about that. Yeah, I don't know what you want to do. Hopefully you comment again, and hopefully you can. It's still a nice malt. It's still a nice malt, but if you offered me a bottle of each, I'm going for this one. So yeah, would you like to adjust your comment? Has it changed at all? Is it just the variations that we're talking about, or I don't know. What's different in the casks that you're using? It's mainly bourbon casks in Old Pulteney, right? So does the bourbon supplier that you're getting them from, is it the same one? If it's the same one, have they changed the recipe a little bit? Have they gone more citrusy? Have they gone more orangey? Because that's what I'm getting with this one. Never got oranges with this one, and I'm not getting it now. This one's got oranges in it. So if the variables have changed that you're working with, then fine. We get that. We can accept it. We're grown-ass adults. And maybe there's a way that you can adapt it. Maybe there was a way that you could pivot and change. But instead of pivoting and changing suppliers or rums or bourbons, and getting the casks more in line with these ones, you just said, well, we've got a relationship with the guys that supply our bourbon casks for this, so let's just stick with them. Or maybe it's a bourbon thing. Maybe the bourbon industry has changed. Maybe people are looking for more citrus notes in their bourbon, and so that's just had a knock-on effect with the whiskey industry. I love all this stuff, man. Just be open about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. Don't just hide it. Don't just say it's exactly the same, because it ain't. It ain't the same. I've picked them out, and I hate to tell you, but I was right, and you guys, I'm not going to say that you lied, because there's obviously going to be variations from year to year, cask to cask, distillation to distillation. We accept that. We know this. But I managed to pick it out, and I've not had this for, I think, almost 2 years. And this one was such a different flavour to me that it inspired me on that video. That's why I was so harsh with you guys. So please reevaluate. Come back to me with another comment. I know I'm just one person, but I'm reaching out to all the other whiskey reviewers right now. I want everybody else to do this. Find yourself an old Pulteney and a new Old Pulteney. Let's see if everybody else gets the same conclusion. If you guys have got some good taste buds, I think you'll be able to taste the difference. It may well be that you guys might need to taste the old one and the new one, and then do the taste test, just to reacquaint yourself with the flavours. But I was so connected with this one, and then this one was so different with that orangey flavour. I mean, if you can pick up orange on your palate, it's the new one. If you don't pick up any orange, it's the old one, and it's got much more of a saltiness and much more of a slightly harsher kind of environment, like I think of a rugged coastline kind of nose. Not that it's rugged on the taste buds at all. It's such a nice malt. They both are. But like I said, I'll take this one. So on that amazing bombshell, good night. Slante, Slange, Avar, and I hope you have a good one.